What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how undersized wide receivers can beat bigger DBs. Okay, so this is a common question that we get asked, so if you guys would like to have any of your questions featured in a video, please don't hesitate to leave that in the comment section below, fellas. We always appreciate the feedback from you guys. You guys are what keep the channel going and help us come up with new ideas every single day, so we 100% appreciate it, okay? So now, first things first, when you're an undersized guy, you have to be creative. You have to bring some things to the table other than just, hey, I'm going to set him up with a release and then go. You have to be a smart wide receiver. You have to pair your releases and your routes together, and we're going to talk about how you can do that. So first route here is going to be what we call a dive release. Okay, so this is just one example of pairing releases together. This does not mean that this is the only release you can use, but it's an example of it, right? So what he does, this dive release where you dive to the inside, take the outside release, and then break this thing right off. So like a dive release is the opposite of a diamond, for those of you who know what that is. A diamond release is when you have a DB who's inside shade, you take 3 hard steps on a 45-degree angle, that DB commits to it, and then you slip under and run the slant. Now, the dive release is where you would just simply take 2 hard steps to the inside on a 45-degree angle, DB commits, and then we slip back to the outside. You could use this on a corner route, a 5-yard out, a 10-yard out like so, or even a fade route, okay? Takes a little bit, but if you're explosive off the line, it does not sacrifice too much time with that quarterback. So how do I build off of that, right? So what is this dive release built off of? That dive release is trying to sell a drag. We're trying to make this DB think that he is running a drag. He's going to commit down on the drag, and then I'm able to break this thing back out. And again, it's one-on-ones, so maybe this isn't the best release to use in one-on-ones because who runs a drag in one-on-ones? Not many people. But man coverage situations in a live game scenario, we love drags from an offensive perspective. So this 100% will work and will probably get this guy to commit even more if you sell it with some speed. So now I talked about pairing releases together. So how do I do that? Like I said, it's built off of a drag. So if you're a drag heavy team, I would say maybe have this in your arsenal, especially when you're going up against bigger physical guys. So now when we come back up to this next clip here, it's the same exact release, but he does a little double step and takes the inside release and runs a slant, I believe. So he goes dive release, gives a little 1-2, and then he's able to still run that 5-yard out. Excuse me, I thought it was a slant. There's another clip of him running a slant with the dive, but he breaks this thing back up and runs the 5-yard out, pairing the releases together and being creative. If you're undersized, if maybe you're not the fastest guy, maybe you're not the strongest guy, your game is going to be outsmarting this dude, right? If he's bigger than you, physical, faster, stronger, you have to have a high football IQ. Look at the guy like Hunter Renfrow, for example, or Cooper Kupp. Not the fastest guys in the world, not the guys who are going to run a blazing sub 4.40, right? But they're very, very smart in what they do. They have very good technique. They're very calculated with their movements, and that's what route running is. Route running is very calculated, and it's a smart thing. There's an approach to it, right? It's an art form. So again, he goes here. He's making the dive release look the exact same. But instead of just breaking this thing right off and going to the outside, what does he do? He sells it, gives a little crossover move, right? So he dives to the inside. He goes left, right, left, and gives that little hesitation move, gets him to sit to the outside. Now we take the inside release, and I can pretty much get some separation without him getting hands on me, right? You see how much bigger this DB is than the wide receiver. We have to make sure that we keep range. We do not let him to get hands on me, and he's always playing that guessing game. Because if you're on the smaller side, you probably should be a little bit better of an athlete than this guy, and if you're not, you definitely need to work on that. So make sure, fellas, first way that an undersized, maybe not as much speed, does not fit the eye test, as a lot of college coaches like to say. First thing you need to make sure you're doing is pairing your releases and pairing your routes together. This is just one example, but there are many ways to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and play both of these full speed so you guys can see this. So again, he does a great dive, gets this DB to flip his hips, and then is able to create separation. And then he does this dive 1-2, making the releases look the same and pairing those two routes together. Okay, so now, last but not least here, when you're an undersized guy, you need to make sure that you bring some kind of physicality to the table, and you can't just rely on your speed, okay? But now, how do we get a little bit more physical? How do we, have some IQ behind me? Like I said, we have to know situations. As a shorter wide receiver, undersized wide receiver, you have to understand the leverage of a DB and why a DB is playing a certain way, okay? But before we get into this, fellas, and we break down this leverage, I want to talk to you about a great opportunity. If you're a shorter wide receiver and you need to get faster, you need to improve your speed, you need to improve your explosiveness, because that's how you're going to need to be able to play at the next level if you don't fit the height, the size requirements. Check out that very first link in the description below for a 12-week-long wide receiver gym workout plan. What you'll get access to is it's 90 days of workouts for wide receivers specifically to improve their on-field performance, their speed, their ankle stability, knee stability, explosion, leg strength, core strength, grip strength, everything that's going to translate to on the field, fellas. All the exercises are broken down on a daily schedule, Monday through Sunday, and we give you sets and reps reps and rest periods for every single exercise. So if you guys want access to a 12-week long gym program for wide receivers specifically, very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. So this is a poor clip right here of this wide receiver getting completely squeezed to the sideline by this DB. So as a short guy, the details matter 100% of the time. That goes for anything. If you're a short quarterback, you're a short DB, you're short in anything or undersized. The details matter. That's the only way that you're going to be able to play, right? So you don't get away with the stuff that some of the bigger 6'5" guys will get away with. So he's running a fade route right here, and this DB's lined up inside shade. So let's show the play. So he gets hands right away and jams him and then squeezes him all the way to that sideline. That quarterback has no space to be able to make that throw and ultimately overthrows him, right? And again, that's the only place the quarterback could put that ball, because if he tries to put it right on the dot, that thing is picked off. So that is the receiver's fault in this case, right? Let's talk about why. You have an inside shade DB, right? Why is he inside shade? You have to understand this. He's inside shade to protect the inside. So if you're going to try to get him to move off the line, try to get him to shift to the inside so I have some space with my outside route or my outside breaking route, if you were running an out route or a corner, you have to threaten him where he doesn't want you to go. You have to threaten his leverage. I want to try to give him a move to threaten him to the insider because maybe he'll keep it. His number one goal is to not let you get the inside release. So let's sell like I'm trying to get the inside release, because if that can move him, then I have more space and I can do like a restack. Quarterback has space to fade me, and it makes my job a little bit easier. But if you're just trying to rely on your speed like this receiver and just run off the line, you're going to get jammed. You have to be on the offensive. You can't be afraid of these bigger physical DBs, fellas. You have to be on the offensive. You have to attack him. You have to threaten his leverage. You have to have quick feet, and we got to make sure that we understand why he is playing a certain way. Let's watch the thing again full speed. So 2 things undersized wide receivers have to do. You got to make sure that you're pairing your routes and your releases together to be unpredictable. A DB who's guessing is a DB who's losing. Second thing, you have to make sure that we understand why a DB plays a certain way and understand how to approach leverage when maybe you don't have the best physical traits. Watch it again, full speed. Again, just not attacking anything, fellas. If we just try to run off, DB's going to squeeze me all the way to that sideline, and I have no space for my quarterback to throw me open. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave that in the comment section below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Always appreciate the feedback. And again, fellas, if you'd like a 90-day wide receiver gym workout schedule, very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. Everything you need in the gym as a wide receiver, very first link. I'll see you guys next time.